Welcome on back to Points and Doinks, going into week 11 in the NFL. As always, the number 2 guy on this podcast, Travis, the number 1 guy on this podcast, Cheese, how are you doing this week, buddy?
I am doing fabulous, Travis. I predicted so that I would get a bye week, beat up Donnie. Didn't exactly beat him. I put up a solid fight, but I did get another win, holding strong in first place in our little division. Travis, how did you do this week? I heard you had a little bet with Johnny Roca because you guys faced up this week.
Well, that league was a great week because I was projected to lose by like 10 to Johnny Roca. I ended up beating him by like 30 or 40 points. It came on the heels of, my Raiders actually getting beaten real football, but at least I had that to look forward to. We did have a bet, and I believe that during the segment they're going to do Ty and Johnny are going to talk about it a little bit and whatnot. But we just watched the video of me and Cheese together because he had not watched it yet, of Johnny Roca doing his end of the bet, which was a half Mountain Dew, half milk Jaeger bomb. So that's a shot of Jägermeister. Chug it. He didn't get all the way through it. He spit it up a little bit. He was gonna puke. He has a rough time. It was rough enough to get me to agree to that, get him to agree with that. It was a funny thing. I did my Trapdoor to Hell Friday live stream, which shout out to those of you who came through and interacted with me on that. That was pretty fun, and I would like to do that again, maybe. And he had mentioned to me about doing something, and his ideas were like kind of gross, but not really. Like, I was like, here, if I lose, I'll do this. I'll definitely puke. It was, a shotgun a can of V8 carrot juice and then take a shot of tequila, which, one, I've never been able to hold down tequila, and two, those of you who've watched me try and eat a beet before in a salad knows I don't do vegetables, or at least those vegetables. I love green beans and peas. But it was fun. It's a fun time. So I went 1-on-1 in our league that weren't together. I got absolutely just cream pied by Mr. Fast, Jardo Fast. But hey, what are you going to do? Sometimes they fall right, sometimes they don't.
And I believe this week, me and you face off. I've beaten everybody associated with this podcast. I beat Dominic. I beat Tyler. And so I'm ready to run the gamut next week to beat you and your hobbled Aaron Jones-less Packers squad.
I was going to say that the Aaron Jones thing really hurts. And I went to look and I was like, I knew I should have handcuffed him, but I'm pretty sure that AJ Dillon was gone really early in our league. Like, he hasn't been floating around out there. Besides Donnie, everybody's pretty active on the waivers and does a pretty decent job. So, but for now, I guess we'll take this time to kick it on over to Tyler and Johnny for the Commissioner's Corner segment and their stardom and sit-thems this week. All right, guys, go ahead, kick it.
All right, everybody. It's time for your favorite segment, your favorite moment of the week. It's the Commissioner Corner, starring everybody's favorite personality out there, Johnny Roca. Johnny Roca, how you doing today, pal?
Doing great, man. It's a great morning. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing all right. Not in a fantasy aspect, it couldn't be worse, but I mean, it's been a rough go at it this year. I can't lie. It's been tough.
Yeah, man. Last night or this week, man, you lost by 3 points in my league, man.
And it was another just like last week, last minute, second guess myself, and it just ended up screwing me over.
Man, yeah. It's a tough one, man. Can't overthink it, man. But we can't help it.
Exactly. I sit there and I think, I don't even know. I honestly, at this point, I'm just kind of like, why is anybody listening to things that I say? Because I keep doing it to myself. How'd you do this week, though?
I went 3-1, and the one league I lost in was to none other than Travis Gunderson.
Of course,
but still 3-1's cool.
Yes. So you guys had a bet on the line.
We did.
Did you fulfill? I haven't got to look. Have you fulfilled your side of the bet yet?
No, I have not fulfilled it yet. I actually have everything ready to go. I was gonna do it last night, but I was too full. I had a nice big dinner, a big fat cold beer, and I was like, I don't have room for this drink, so I'm gonna do it tonight.
And after a nice dinner and a nice beer like that, you don't want to spoil it with having to do something gross like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So for the listeners who don't know out there, I lost to Travis, and we made a bet where if he lost, he was gonna drink. What was he gonna drink? Oh yeah, he was gonna shotgun a V8 vegetable juice.
Yes.
And then follow it with a shot of tequila. I would have really loved to seen that, and I was winning for a while, and then I looked at my phone late last night, and I was like, I lost. The heck, man. So I now got to take the drink, and I'm not taking that drink. He proposed a drink to me, which is a Jaeger bomb, but without the energy drink. So I have to drop my Jaeger bomb, my shot of Jaeger into a concoction of Mountain Dew and creamer.
Ugh.
Oh, I'm not looking forward to this, man. I'm like really grossed out by it. My wife, who grabbed some of the ingredients for me yesterday at the grocery store, was like, "This is disgusting," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's gonna be quite a show." So I'll fulfill my bet. I'm a man of my word. I honor my bet. So look out for that.
Yeah, I had the same, not in the betting sense, but the sense of like I had the win in the bag in the other league, in the CTE league. And then all of a sudden I looked on Sunday night after the Sunday night game, and I was like, what the fuck? I lost. The other guy had Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes just went off, just absolutely torched me. And you've been in the CTE league before. And
yes.
You know how our quarterback scoring can get really high to the point where he beat me by 30. But I was up 40 going into Sunday night.
No. So he did get 70 points, right?
He dropped 75 points in that format.
75. Oh my God.
So that was absolutely what a brutal way to lose.
We were just talking about this last week, how you lose, you always face somebody who goes hot.
Yeah.
And you had to play Pat Mahomes. I feel bad for anyone who played Pat Mahomes this week.
I had to play Pat Mahomes in that league, and then I had to face off against Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce in your league.
Jeez.
So I just and then being a Raider fan, the Chiefs just fucked me sideways 3 times.
Yikes! 3 times.
3 times. It was brutal. It was
My
brutal.
Goodness.
Didn't even buy me dinner first either.
Right, it could have wined and dined you, lose some lubrication.
Exactly. Take it easy on me at first. Maybe not this time, maybe another time. But damn, man, they came out and got me.
Poor Tyler Gunderson, man. I know listeners out there, you guys feel us, man, when that happens. When you think you won, so you kind of like ignore your phone, go about your day, and you look down, you're like, what the fuck? I lost? It's happened many times to me. And on the flip end, it's kind of nice when you look down and you think you lost. You're like, whoa, I won. Cool, but God, to just lose like that, it sucks, dude. It sucks, man.
Absolutely. But
my condolences.
Thanks. With all this talk about losing and me obviously sitting in last place in your league, at least, punishments is this week's topic for the Commissioner's Corner. So what are some of your favorite punishments? Are you looking for suggestions for this year?
Yeah, I mean, there's, we always, check with the league to see what they want to do. Because obviously, it's a democracy. We want people to voice themselves, because they may have to partake in the punishment. Or if you're that team that kicks ass and you're not going to have to, then you're going to spice it up a little bit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, before I give a few examples to listeners out there, remember we are talking about a team that finishes in last place come week 14 in the standings, or more fun than that is the teams that finish at the bottom. It doesn't have to be the last place guy. It can be the bottom 4 or whatnot, have to go in a playoff, a consolation bracket. In our league, for example, in the I always want to say Sons of Anarchy. This is the end zone in our league.
Yes.
It's our playoffs are week 15, 16, and 17. So the losers in the loser bracket will have the bye week 15, and then they'll face off in a 4-team playoff, 16 and 17. Week 17 is going to be interesting because the upper bracket is going to play for the consolation prize, which is winning their money back. And the lower bracket, of course, is they're trying to avoid the loss because they will face the punishment.
Absolutely.
So scary stuff. And if you're a commissioner out there, or if you're an owner, a team owner that I know we don't like using that word, but if you're a member that wants to suggest something or do something like this to spice it up, do it. It's fun. As far as punishments go, you guys had some good suggestions last on the Curveballs and Chair Shots podcast last week. And I do appreciate that. So it gave me it sparked some ideas, a lot of in the think tank here. We got in my league, they suggested maybe getting a pink t-shirt ordered that says "I suck at fantasy football," and they have to wear it to work. Like, that's going to suck.
That would very much suck, but I think that's a very funny way to go about it.
Yeah, and it's safe. No one's going to get fired over it so long as there's no profanity on it. But holding a sign is always nice, but up the ante a little bit and stick them in a high traffic spot, like, bump one of those homeless beggars or one of those guys selling oranges in the streets to the side, say, "Hey, I need to borrow this spot for an hour," and just go stand right there at a red light, at the left turn lane.
Yeah.
And just hold a sign that just says, "I don't need money, but I suck at fantasy football. Maybe you can fund my, my league fee next year," or something. So, but yeah, something funny like that. Of course, the nasty drink, like what I'm doing with Travis tonight, and you can maybe get the league members to all suggest an ingredient for the drink. So it would be a multiple, ingredient concoction, and have the loser drink that drink, on live feed or something. And then last year in our league, we had a guy suggest going to lunch by yourself, but taking a date with you, which is a blow up doll, and just carrying it with you and go up to the counter and order your food. And that's pretty humiliating as well. So those are some of my favorite ones. Do you have any?
I love all the ones you've brought up. I enjoyed the one with that you did a couple years ago where we went to the Sharks game and you had them walk up and down the street there, the strip there with all the bars holding the sign. I thought that was very funny.
That was fun to watch. Yeah, it was fun to be a part of,
And to take it even a step further with just that, it would have been great if he would have made it into the game with said sign and had to hold it up at the game.
I would have loved that. He probably would have even made the Jumbotron, man.
That's what I mean. You get, because something like that, you get on the Jumbotron, and who knows, big sports game, maybe you go viral off of it.
Move viral, go on. You'll be on Sports Center, maybe.
Exactly. Fun stuff like that. I do enjoy, like you said, the t-shirt at work. I thought that was a pretty fun idea.
I like where you're going with that. Not to interrupt you. I like where you're going with that, with taking a sign somewhere and trying to go viral somewhere. I mean, make it famous. Try to aim for that. That's kind of cool.
Exactly. I seen people. I think it was an old coach of mine that plays fantasy football. He had one of his buddies lost their league, and he had to get a sticker for his back windshield.
Beautiful.
That said, "I really suck at fantasy football," and he had I think he had to keep it up for like 6 months or something like that.
Oh my god!
Yeah, they did. They had it brutal to where it was like a long standing thing. And I'm like, oh my god! But stuff like that is pretty funny, because you're driving every day. You got to use your car.
I looked online and I saw, license plate frames, which is not as blatant as a big old sticker on the back, but to drive around. Yeah. But hopefully they make flags that or car flags or a bumper sticker. Bumper stickers kind of suck because those are hard to take off your car no matter where you put them. But a decal, they come off, but
decals come off pretty decently.
Yeah,
but after 6 months, I'm sure it leaves a pretty good mark on it. But
there'll be a nice little border tracing on there.
Yeah.
Man, I love it.
What we did last year for This Is the End Zone, which was formerly Sons of Fanarchy last year, the post on Facebook I thought was pretty funny. Where it was especially during COVID, COVID safe and all stuff like that. But to just have kind of the league come up with this outrageous story that you have to post onto your Facebook or any social media that you use frequently, and then not being able to defend yourself off of it. You just have to roll with it for a little bit. I thought that was great. I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, shout out to Don G out there who had to do that last year in our league. And man, he got tons and tons, dozens and dozens of comments from family and friends like saying, I never knew this. Oh my God. It was like a diarrhea story at a game or something like that.
And then I
awesome.
don't know, like I remember seeing it because it would always come up on my page from
Yes.
somebody else commented on this, and I was
Yep.
like, oh, this is great. And then
Yep.
I'm trying to think back. Did he ever go back and defend himself? Did he ever like take it down?
I don't think so. He never put a post or live feed saying, hey, by the way, everybody. It just kind of, to this day, I'm sure there's friends and family of his that still think this is a real story. So,
and that's just awesome. That's like something like that is very fun.
That did blow up. And then I do have one last suggestion, unless you got more to add after that. But shout out to Renee and Murrieta, a coworker of mine. He was saying something about he saw online that somebody some buddies took the loser to a baseball game, football game, basketball. I don't know. It was a very high populated venue where he wore a dress to the game. Usually go in a t-shirt or your team jersey or whatever. No, this dude went in a dress. So that's kind of fun too. Make sure you guys buy his ticket. The poor guy.
Yeah. Of course.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a very
for
fun
him. Yeah.
That can go viral too, because now you're not carrying a sign into the game, you're wearing a dress,
Yeah, exactly. Just fun stuff like that to make you stand out in a crowd is always awesome. Very, very fun.
And go short skirt if you can, guys. If you're gonna make your guy wear a dress, go short, go slutty.
Spend the money, make them look nice. Get the makeup going,
high heels,
some hair extensions, do the whole nine.
Yes, you heard it here from Ty G and J-Ro, man. This is great.
Oh man. And for everybody who struggles like Travis and Cheese, one more time, who posed that one? Who gave you that idea? This past one? Renee and Murrieta?
Yeah, that was Renee and Murrieta.
There you go. For everybody, just to reiterate, Renee and Murrieta, because I know Travis and I know Cheese, every time they struggle with it, and it's just like, come on, guys.
I laughed when he first got it wrong because he was like Rini and Marita, or they like totally slaughtered it, dude.
Oh my god!
And, shout out to him because he's an avid listener now. He's suggesting questions all the time. He's a big fan of the podcast. So
awesome! We love to see it.
Now let me close up here unless you have more.
I'll go right ahead.
Now as a commissioner, getting a little serious here, if the loser does not abide by these punishments, okay, because guys will like try to duck and run from you and try to avoid you, implement a cash penalty, have him the option of him taking everyone out to lunch or Venmo everybody $5 or $10, buy everybody lunch, and that can get very pricey. 10-12 man league, dude. Like, we'll do the math. That's a lot of money. So you probably better off doing the punishment, or even worse. And I've done this before in our league, kick them out of the league.
Yep.
I've warned the guys and said, look, if you're not going to do this punishment, we're all friends here and we all kind of committed to this. If you're not going to do this, then, you're not one of us, bro. This is a fraternity, so hey, dude, you're getting kicked out of this league. So, it's sad to say, and I don't mean to be a hard ass, but if you're not going to do it, then get the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, we're better off without you, and we want the guys in the league who are down for this shit. You know what I mean? So
absolutely, and like, I get it from a standpoint from a guy who like who gets really nervous about doing public stuff like that, but it's not even. But like with the things that like we've put out there and we've said, there are such worse fantasy football punishments out there. People can get real weird and real nasty and real like they get carried away with it. And then you look at like the stuff we do, like holding a sign on a corner or something like that, or making a Facebook post, or just simple things like that. You could easily go through with it. Like it's a couple hours, if even that, of having to deal with it, and then you're fine. Then it's nothing. Then it's in the rear view mirror,
and you get to live and tell about it later.
Exactly, and then you get to have laughs about it, and you get a little bit more respect from the guys in your league. You get guys going, that was hysterical. Let me buy you a drink. Let me, you went through this. Let me do like we take. People in the league take care of each other. It's a great balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, Ty. Well said. It's great, dude. Yeah, shout out to all the guys who have done those punishments, man. It's It's something, dude. Definitely
Exactly.
something. But of
Exactly.
course, everybody don't kill your guy. Don't get him arrested. Don't you know what I'm saying?
Don't go too crazy.
Yeah. As a disclaimer, we're not trying to tell everyone to do something crazy. I mean, God, I feel bad for the cast of Jackass. Like, I'm sure
Mhm.
they got some fucked up punishments over there.
Exactly. Like those,
So,
and I'm sure there's a lot of people who go, yeah, as a punishment, let's try and do like a jackass type thing, and it's like, oh,
mm-mm.
these guys are professionals. Let's not. How about that?
Yeah, we're not condoning that, guys.
Yeah, no, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it fun and keep it to where people want to come back and play
Yes.
next year.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so other than that, you got some sleepers, some stardoms, some situms. What are we looking at this week?
I got a couple here. A stardom, AJ Dillon from Green Bay. Give him a start. I know the situation over there with Aaron Jones is kind of up and down with what's going on. He, even if he comes healthy and even if he does play, AJ Dillon is a great handcuff and a great guy to just have on there as a second running back. Obviously, they're giving him more touches right now. Darrell Williams in KC, very reliable target. I believe he had 9 targets the other day.
Yep.
And he was 100%. He was 9 for 9. So that's definitely someone, especially in the PPR league. He's going to rack up points for you. And then I was wrong last week, everyone, about Adrian Peterson saying that he was going to go off this past week. He did not. I apologize. He only scored me 3 points in my league, but he is going up against Houston this week. Horrible defense. This is his 3rd game back. I'm very confident and certain that he finally will break out and get some double digits for everybody this week. I can move on to Siddums real quick. Dearness Johnson. Even though he's kind of the lead back right now, and we kind of don't know what's going to happen right now with good old Chubb, if he's going to come back for sure or not. I know he's still under COVID protocol, but even if he is the feature back, I just don't trust him right now. I don't think he's going to emulate that game he had Thursdays ago against Denver. So I just don't know. I don't feel confident about starting him. Mike Gallup is real big on the waiver wires right now. I wouldn't be so sure about starting him either. And then Cordell Patterson is dealing with a sore ankle right now. So I don't know if he's going to be 100% either. And then lastly, I do have a kind of a weather report like I did last week. As you guys saw, I did call that rainstorm over in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
So that obviously did hinder the game. Obviously, that ended up in a tie. But be cautious if you're starting any Baltimore players in the rain this week. They're going up against
Chicago.
I forgot. Correct, Chicago. I'm sorry. Yeah, so I was checking Chicago. Thank you for that save.
Yes,
Chicago's weather is going to be a little iffy this week. So, that's the way it is in Chicago. But, those are my starters and sittums, everybody. What do you got, Ty?
I like it. I also had AJ Dillon just based on, even if Aaron Jones does play. I know he's been dealing with some injuries, some soreness and stuff. So even if he does, I still like AJ Dillon. I know they like to really split the work over there. Elijah Mitchell of San Francisco has been on a tear lately. They're going up against a really, really bad defense with Jacksonville. So I can see him absolutely having a good day. A couple quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts is really starting to get into his own, kind of like we saw last year. Late in the season, they start kind of getting a little more loose with the playbook. Jalen Hurts starts to get a little bit more, gets to show his talents a little bit more. And then Tua going up against the Jets. We saw he looked pretty good when he came in this past Thursday against the Ravens, even though he still has his, I believe it's what was his injury? Was it a shoulder or a back? Something. Can't remember off the top of my head.
It was something upper body, yeah.
Yeah, but he looked pretty decent against Baltimore. Give him another week of rehab. They're playing Sunday, so he gets a little bit more time to relax. I think he'll have a pretty good game. And then Dan Arnold at the tight end position. I know tight ends are always tough every year, but Dan Arnold for Jacksonville, he seems to be the big target with, I believe DJ Chark went out. He was kind of the big man. Now Dan Arnold, he's had about 8 targets in the last 4 games. So the targets are there, and he's doing pretty good. So those are my stardoms. I don't really have very many situms. let's see who. Let's take a look at.
While you're looking there, a big shout out to Cheese. That I know he's a big Dan Arnold fan, and so am I. He was real impressive when he during the preseason with Carolina, and then of course he got traded. But big guy, I think he's the future of the tight ends right now. Look out in the next 2 or 3 years, Dan Arnold's going to be one of the elites.
Absolutely. So kind of piggybacking off, like you said, not starting any Baltimore players. Lamar Jackson against Chicago in Chicago should have a tough time.
Right.
I wouldn't say sit him, but limit your expectations on Justin Herbert. Pittsburgh defense, if they get everybody back healthy playing on Sunday night, I think they could really hold Justin Herbert down.
Yeah.
And then Matt Ryan playing against Bill Belichick in New England. We kind of know how that goes.
Yeah, we do.
Let's see. Who else do we have here? I think that's good for sit-ems. There's not too many out there that I'd worry about. Wide receivers I know are really tough. Oh, that's what I was going to bring up to you. I made a trade last night. We had a points and doinks trade last night between me and Cheese in the CTE league. He's in dire need of running back help. I am absolutely struggling with wide receivers with Calvin Ridley going out. Robert Woods tore his ACL. Just absolutely brutal. So I sent him James Conner, who's going to be the starter for Arizona for the next few weeks, and he's been a touchdown guy. And he sent me Devontae Smith of Philadelphia.
Great trade. Great trade.
This is probably one of the most, evenly killed, straightforward trades that I've ever made. I know me and you made that trade earlier, and that one felt pretty good. This one feels pretty good. So hopefully, get the wheels turning here. Need something. I hope
so, man. Yeah, it should work out for both of you guys. Great trade for guys who need one or the other position filled up. So
yeah,
absolutely.
Well, anything else before we get out of here, Johnny?
Most leagues only got 4 weeks left in the regular season, so now's the time to start thinking about playoffs. So make your push now. It's do or die time. It's time to start clinching. Find out. We're going to start separating the men from the boys. So good luck to everybody out there.
Absolutely. Coming down to the wire here. Well, I still have no clue where they put this in. So it's either see you later. I hope you guys have a good fantasy week, or we're throwing it right back over to Travis and Cheese.
All right. Well, in honor of my boy Ty G, I'm going to do the famous bye.
Love to see it.
And we're back. I know it's been so long since you heard my voice, but we are back here. Cheese, off the top, before we get into, you know what? Stall for me for a second so I can. Or is there any other news that you want to talk about before we get into this? And I got to check.
Well, before we get into it, we actually had a points and doinks trade. Tyler and Johnny Roca talked about it a little bit late last night. Me and Tyler, this was a trade discussion that was going back since before the weekend started. We finally came to terms. I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. They gave their thoughts about it. Each of them all say it's a fair trade. I guess I got to agree. I am trading Devontae Smith. Everyone listens to this podcast knows how much I love him but I gave him up in return for James Conner as Tyler is struggling to get into the playoffs. He needs wide receiver help desperately. I'm pretty locked into making the playoffs, and I'm just trying to fill up my running back core. So, Travis, what do you think of that James Conner for Devontae Smith trade?
I would say that in the sense that you need running back help, Chase Edmonds is out for how long? Do you know?
A few weeks. I know it's not the exact perfect trade in the world, but James Conner, even without Chase Edmonds in there, he has been kind of a touchdown monster. I was able to pick up Chris Carson off the waivers because Donnie for some reason dropped him, and I'm hoping
and the thing is, Donnie doesn't have to because he's got 2 open slots on his bench. He doesn't have to drop anybody.
Yes, I don't understand why it happened, but I was perfectly okay with taking him. So I'm hoping Chris Carson can get healthy and to be my running back 2 for the playoffs, but kind of, just hold on to my little 1 seed, because if you get the 1 seed in division, you get a bye. So I'm kind of hoping that James Conner can kind of coast me into that 1 spot.
Well, when you're thinking about it in the sense that you need running back help, Chase Edmonds is out. James Conner has been productive, and there's been injuries, and we don't exactly know what a 17-week season is going to do to the way they roster manage with unhealthy running backs and stuff. To get James Conner, although at a cost, which I'm sure you're willing to give up because you have a lot of talent in the wide receiver position, I think it's pretty fair. You guys both get what you need. I mean, I don't think it's going to really turn around Tyler for anything, but hey, you tried. You could, at the end of the season, he could look to you, go, "You are my friend," and you tried to help.
Yeah, he was asking for T. Higgins. I didn't want to give up T. Higgins. Luckily, Smith did have a good week this week, and I think that helped my cause to be able to offload Smith instead of Higgins.
Sell high, right? All right, well, let's get into some questions here. Do you have any questions from your Instagram?
No, because I keep forgetting to call it. You get so many. J-Ro does a great job at getting people to submit questions.
He's been doing it for your podcast too now, so I know you're getting the great side of that one. But we'll start from the email here. This one's from Andy in Jacksonville, Florida.
Duval.
Shout out Duval. Who should I start this week? Aaron Rodgers or Dak Prescott? Now, Dak Prescott is playing against the Chiefs, so I immediately like that.
What league do you have where you're playing Aaron Rodgers or Dak Prescott? Is this like a 4-teamer? What the hell's going on here?
Yeah, or he's just super stacked at the quarterback position. Like he drafted second round, third round quarterbacks. Like that's insane that he has both of them. I would go Dak Prescott, right? Am I tripping?
I don't think you can go wrong either which way.
Who do the Packers have this week? Let me take a look.
Both teams are on the road. Packers
at Vikings, and then Cowboys at Chiefs.
So Vikings, the Vikings game, we don't have to worry about weather. I don't know what the Kansas City weather's like. I think it's a win-win no matter what you do. But I mean, Aaron Rodgers has a little bit of a toe injury. I mean, he put up decent numbers last week against the Seahawks. Dak's been cooking. He almost threw 300 yards in three quarters. So, I mean, I have Dak, so obviously I'm going to ride with him. But, I mean, the Chiefs defense doesn't exactly scare you too much. Vikings is kind of up and down. I think it's a toss-up, honestly. I just think, I mean, you have Aaron Rodgers, I have Dak Prescott. So, I think we kind of split on who we would want.
You don't really go wrong in this situation. We'll start out we'll go with the next one here. This one's from Mooch. Fucking shout out Mooch. He's a good guy. Did my podcast. Trapdoor to Hell. Our pod, me and Tyler's, maybe. 2 questions here. What do the red, black, and green numbers and digits under the player's name mean on the NFL fantasy app? So I believe what he's looking for. Let me look. The red, black, and green numbers under a player's name in the NFL fantasy app. Oh, I see what it is. It's a situation. Okay. So what that means basically, and it should come up even if you're in ESPN fantasy or whatever, when it's showing the matchup that the player that you're looking at is in, green means they're at a advantage in this matchup. Red is bad, and then black is neutral. So for example, Myles Gaskin the Miami Dolphins are playing the Jets this weekend. They give up the 32 most amount of points. So they are worse in the league at giving up points to the running back. So that's a green. And then we'll go to, let's see. Here, Green Bay Packers at Minnesota. We just talked about this game. They are the 4th best team against defenses. So they give up the 4th least amount of points to your defense if you're holding that defense right there. So that's what that means. Right? Yes.
I guess. I mean, I don't got the NFL app, but I know ESPN kind of has something similar.
They do the same thing. It just, yeah. And then here's a better question here, or not a better. They're all great questions.
There's no such thing as a stupid question, just stupid people asking questions.
That's it. Other question. Who should I start this week? Ryan Tannehill, Matt Ryan. I always seem to start the wrong one. Best advice, please. Well, we always give our best advice here, or at least try to. Matt
Except
Ryan.
for when it comes to Tyler, because I'm 0-2 with Tyler's flex options this past couple of weeks. Sorry.
Matt Ryan or Ryan Tannehill?
Well, Matt Ryan playing on Thursday, so you got to make it quick. New England defense doesn't exactly scare me. I think.
Did they just shut out? Who did they play on Sunday? They just shut them out, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, that Cleveland passing attack is not that good. It's not that good. But I mean, I think I'm riding with Ryan Tannehill going up against the Texans. Plus matchup going against the Texans. I just think it's an overall better offense going up against a weaker defense. So I'm going with Ryan Tannehill, but I do like, Matt Ryan, I think more than maybe what average people would say.
Yeah, I have a little more faith in the New England defense, especially on short week for Atlanta in a bad loss. That seems like a
Cordell Patterson questionable with the name.
Oh yeah, Cordero's that, yeah. But Ryan Tannehill, what I like to, not what I like because I don't like any of this, but Julio Jones left the game on Sunday. He doesn't look like he's going to be back. We know about the Derrick Henry injury, and the people who they've been plugging in seem to be producing. So this could be more of a fluid offense, which I think bodes better for Tannehill. Like not having to worry about these other guys who, you have to give the ball to Derrick Henry 20 or 30 times a game, or I got to keep an eye out for Julio because he's always doing something opposite of AJ Brown, excuse me. And I think this offense gets more fluid. It gets more free, spread the ball around more, which means more points for Ryan Tannehill, less points all around for any singular player over in Tennessee, but AJ Brown. All right, let's see. Next questions here. I closed that for some reason. Armando in Palm Springs. He is 9-1. I guess the team is the Pandas. Fucking right on, brother. Right on, brother. What's the word on Saquon Barkley's return? What do you know about the word on Saquon?
Well, I've not been playing too close, but he had the ankle injury and then he got COVID. So that just kind of threw a whole wrench into things. It says here yesterday that he practiced for the first time in more than a month. So a positive sign, not exactly a sign he's going to play, but I mean, if he's playing, you're starting him. That's pretty much all I got to say about that.
And what do you think happens if he does come back and he does start? Because we know that you have to start him because he is that offense, right? And you can't really, you can't take. There's nobody who's going to be a better option than the number one guy anywhere, except for maybe his first week back because they might take stuff away from him and split time, right? But after that, he's going to start. Do you think he will actually be productive? I don't think so.
I'm going to have to kind of reel it back. I didn't exactly look at what the matchup was. It's a Monday night game against the Buccaneers. That is arguably the worst matchup you can get because for someone who's injured, you don't know if he's going to play, and it's a bad matchup regardless. I mean, I think you're still going to have to start him because I don't think you have too many better options, but kind of going to your question. I mean, if he's on the field, he's their best player. And it's almost like CMC at kind of like a lower level to where he's going to be on the field. They're going to try to feed him touches. They're probably going to want to limit him a little bit. I mean, we saw when he came back from his previous injury from last year that he got, kind of worked his way in, but eventually kind of after whatever, like week 3 or 4, he was fine. But then unfortunately he suffered the ankle injury.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I would, if you're questioning whether he's going to be back for you this week, even if he is, I would stay right away because of that. There probably will slow build him up because he's been out for so long. And also you're playing Tampa Bay, who has one of the best run defenses in the league, even though it didn't look that way against Washington last week. But I don't think it's productive. And I don't think it's the problem is that you have to base this off of what his ADP is. And I think we've talked about this all season where there's guys like him and who am I missing also that was drafted in the first round? Even Tyreek Hill, the way you drafted him for his ADP, you expect him to fucking boom all the time, and the boom's just not there because of injuries, because of, whatever it is. What are your predictions on Cam Newton? How will he do? How many games might he start for fantasy owners? I think so. One of the weird things that I saw was that he kind of came in off a short week and getting signed and taking over the clubhouse. And we know how Cam Newton is. He is a outspoken guy. So I think that's bad news for Sam Darnold in general. And when he was in the game, he actually played pretty well. Now, what does that do over all 60 minutes of the game? Who's to say? But the good thing is with him is that he doesn't have to sling the ball around too much because he has CMC right there. And if he, arm starts getting tired late, just give the ball off, dump the ball off, get it into the playmaker's hands, let him move downfield. He doesn't have to work the ball laterally too much at all because of CMC's talent.
Yeah, he's looking like he's on track to start this week against Washington. I'm not starting him this week. I think you want to see what that offense looks like. But in the short little bursts he had last week against Arizona, he did look good. As you said, I mean, having CMC in your back pocket is always going to help. But it looked like he had some sort of connection with Robbie Anderson, and he's been, one of the worst disappointments this entire fantasy season. And so he, a lot of people probably dropped him. I'm not saying rush to go pick him up, but if he shows some sort of connection with him and Cam, I mean, maybe, you can take a look at him. And I mean, with Sam Darnold out injured for the next few weeks, I wouldn't be shocked if, Cam does, start possibly the rest of the season. And if they can sneak into the playoffs, who exactly knows with the NFC? But fantasy wise, it's just tough to say because he, last year he did not have, he was terrible. He was not accurate at all, but he also had COVID. He said he kind of wasn't right pretty much after that. So I don't know how much that's going to, affect him this season. So hopefully, we can kind of get Cam. We're not going to get MVP Cam back, but maybe we can get, old Carolina Cam back, after the MVP.
The Robbie Anderson thing, it really sucks because I was big on the bandwagon, or I was big on that wagon. I wouldn't say bandwagon, but I was ringing the bell for Robbie Anderson and what he could do with Sam Darnold, and he may still be good coming into this season. He's a late round, this and that, and Robbie Anderson has sucked. So, in my heart of hearts, I hope that Robbie Anderson doesn't do shit, because then I think I might get caught up into a fucking Traquan Smith scenario where I hold on to him every season from now on, just going well, remember, he screwed you that one time when you let him go, and then Cam Newton came back. I do think that because of, we know Cam Newton is still, athletic and still got his legs on him good. And I think the offense, the way it's run, and we've seen when he was in Carolina before, that when they get into the red zone, they get into short yardage stuff, they're not afraid to go to Cam Newton on the ground and let him punch it in himself. And I think that gives him a little bit of upside depending on your league, right? Because if you have one of these guys like Josh Allen, Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, these guys who every week are putting up great numbers, and they have these huge big boom games, you're not going to put Cam Newton in for him. Well, let's say your main quarterback is dealing with an injury, or like in the event of this past week when Ben Roethlisberger gets COVID, not going to play on short notice. I think Cam Newton has upside from anybody else you're going to be able to pick up on the waiver wire or free agency because of that. Because of that, I think he has a little bit more.
Yeah, and even if Cam does snipe some rushing touchdowns at the goal line, it's not going to affect CMC. I mean, the man got 25 points and he barely played that much. So CMC will be fine.
Yes, sir. All right, let's get into the breakdown of this week. And we'll start with that Thursday night game, the Patriots at Falcons. Really quick, the Patriots wide receiver Jacoby Myers has finally scored a touchdown.
Give it up for him. He scored a touchdown. Good job.
Longest gap in wide receiver history. The first wide receiver to have this many catches and yards as a wide receiver without getting a touchdown. What do you think that says for going forward? Like, does that break the seal, like that first piss after a bunch of beers, or what?
Yep. I mean, after not scoring a touchdown forever, however long he's been in the NFL, they're just going to come in droves now. It's kind of like my boy Devontae Smith. He doesn't do anything, and then now he's scoring back-to-back games. Jacoby Myers, he's on the rise. And honestly, Mac Jones ain't playing too hot. I know he's more of a good real football quarterback than a fancy football quarterback, but this passing offense isn't exactly like the sexiest, but there's usable pieces. I mean, a few.
They move the chains, right? And that's the key to a Patriots offense. It doesn't exactly create for a huge upside in the fantasy world, but they move the chains. And I think we've talked about Nick Folk as the kicker on and on about what that does for him, and the fact that they do operate that way is a huge upside. Now on the other side, we got the Falcons of Younghoe Koo. The Patriots defense has been a little stingy. What about the Falcons and kind of running it that way? Younghoe Koo, you think they could punch it in? Do you think they have the ability to move the ball up the field with against New England?
It's definitely a tough ask with let's just say no Cordell Patterson, no Calvin Ridley. I mean, Mike Davis, I was banging the drum on him early, and even when he does play, I mean, he gets his touches. It's not obviously what I thought it was going to be. So this is going to be a big kind of prove it game for Mike Davis if he is the guy. And, if you're still holding on to him, if you're able to pick him up because, someone was frustrated and dropped him, I think he's a good start this week if you don't have any better options, especially if Cordell Patterson isn't playing, because if Cordell's not starting, Davis is going to get a run, and he'll definitely get more catches if Patterson isn't in that lineup.
I think also if Patterson is in that lineup, Wayne Gallman is the backup over there, I believe. And I know when he was in New York with the Giants and Saquon was out, they used him in the passing game quite a bit. So, I mean, that might be a direct replacement for Cordero, but I think that's only in deeper leagues, really.
Yeah, and with no Calvin Ridley, I was hoping that maybe Russell Gage would kind of step up and be that number one. He put up a big fat 0 last week. And, I mean, Kyle Pitts has kind of emerged as the number one guy. Very weird game last week, so it's kind of hard to judge too much off of that game against Dallas. But we're still kind of waiting to see if another receiver can step up outside of Pitts in place of Calvin Ridley. It just hasn't happened yet. They just kind of spread the ball around, except for Pitts, who's the number one guy, but you're not going to be able to get him off the waivers.
Yeah, correcto. We'll move on to Sunday, though. We'll start with the first game on Sunday. The Saints at the Eagles. Jalen Hurts versus Taysom Hill? Question mark? No, I believe it's still Trevor Siemian, right?
Oh, Trevor Siemian.
What do you got on this game? What's your take on it?
It will be interesting. Alvin Kamara he don't know what his status is. Might be a 1 week thing, might be a multiple week thing. Mark Ingram came in last week and had a solid game. Sorry, Tyler. I said Kittle had a good game, but Mark Ingram had a better game, and that was the difference. Deontay Harris, he has kind of emerged as that kind of number one guy outside without Michael Thomas. Johnny Roca sent in a question for curveballs and chair shots, and it was a trade with this guy. And as a Saints fan, I'll be honest, I had no idea who the hell this guy was. And I was like, why are you trading for this guy? We looked into it, and he ain't that bad. And he actually had a decent game last week. Only was targeted 4 times, but he hauled in for 3 of them for 84 yards. So he's not, getting the workload that you might want. Travis's boy Traquan Smith out there hauling in 7 targets. So maybe if you're desperate, maybe pick up Traquan Smith. I don't know. Yeah, he did get a touchdown, so that's really what boosted his value. But
don't do it. I've been down that road. The Eagles, though, Jalen Hurts hasn't exactly been what you've been hoping for from a mobile quarterback. And I think the troubles continue this week against the Saints. Saints kind of lock you in and hold you tight like a wrestler and just squeeze you to the ground. What's the main running back? He's back this week. What's his name?
Miles Sanders.
Those of you, yes, Miles Sanders. Those of you listening, I'm holding my microphone, so it's kind of hard for me to Google quickly. I can barely type with two hands, so I'm not even attempting with one hand. Miles Sanders is back, so like those of you who are streaming Boston Scott or anybody like that, go ahead and downgrade, and adjust, right? Next game, the Dolphins at the Jets. Now, the Jets, Mike White had a poor performance last week. I think he threw, 4 picks? Is that correct?
I think so. Not a good day, especially if you had some faith in the Jets and you put some money down on them.
Oh, no. What was your bet? Did you put a parlay together?
I mean, the over hit, mainly because the Buffalo Bills put up almost a 50 burger.
Buffalo fucking murdered them, yeah.
But, the Jets cannot keep it within 13 points.
No.
Unfortunately.
Zach Wilson still not back yet, correct?
Nope. And honestly, I mean, yeah, Mike White was trash last week, but I don't know if you really want to risk it. But I mean, you're not starting regardless, so who cares?
Well, it's a better matchup. I see what you're saying. You want to point out that it's a better matchup than the Bills, but you're still not going to do it. Like, it's the Dolphins. I get it. There's some upside, but not much. I do think there's a lot of upside for Jamison Crowder in this matchup, though, being as he's the only wide receiver out of New York with those Jets who has any continuous, productivity. I think he still does it. Does it for you guys in that regard. What about on Miami?
Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore's a good one. I think he is. I wouldn't, maybe not.
He's a running back, right?
He's the wide receiver. We're thinking of Elijah Mitchell for the 49ers.
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
But coming off the kind of garbage time stuff from the Thursday night game a few weeks ago, and then this week, Moore has kind of stepped up recently. Kind of tough to say he's a number one guy there, but he hauled in a touchdown. Corey Davis had 5 catches for 93 yards. So technically, he had the more productive day, but Moore is able to, be a target in the red zone or in the end zone. So
interesting. Dolphins no Devontae Parker still, but Myles Gaskin has a really good. I mean, I talked about him as my example in one of the questions, in the fact that he has a good matchup this week. What do you think he does?
I think big upgrade all the way around for the Dolphins. I'm not the biggest fan of really anybody on the Dolphins, but I think you just upgrade them all. This Jets team, this defense is not very good. So just, I don't know, if I would say, if you got them, start them, but you can have much more confidence if you're starting a Dolphin this week.
Yeah, I'm starting Jalen Waddle. I'm starting Myles Gaskin for sure. Next matchup, the Washington football team against the Cam Newton Carolina Panthers. This is going to be interesting because Washington off a huge win against Tampa Bay on their bye week. We talked about that. That was shocking as all fucking hell. And then Carolina now, I'm pretty sure Cam Newton will be announced as starter, I think, either tomorrow or on Thursday. So this is an interesting matchup. What do you see from it?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about Carolina and the Panthers already. So going over to Washington, Antonio Gibson, he had a solid game against that tough Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. And I would say, he's probably going to have another solid game. This Carolina Panthers defense, I've kind of said it. I kind of like them as a streaming option, as they're not sexy, but they're just able to, get some turnovers, get some sacks, get enough. Maybe they put up, they might give up some points, but they're going to make some stops and make some plays as well. But
Stephon Gilmore is always somebody to look out for, right?
Yeah. So, on the Washington front, pretty much, the same group,